Good morning, everybody. In the UK, the government is paying for 1,200 women a year, or perhaps more than that, to have what's called top trans surgery. This is a headline which I saw today in the Telegraph. Now, I'm normally very critical of the mainstream media, but for once, they've done a good job in looking into this story and finding out what's going on in the NHS. Now, the headline is not immediately obvious because top trans, what does that actually mean? Well, what it means, or top trans surgery, is women having surgery on their top, their breasts, essentially, to have double mastectomies because they have gender dysphoria. Now, you've probably seen horrific pictures, before and after pictures, of healthy looking women who have decided for one reason or another, or have been groomed into transitioning into a man, as they say. Now, of course, a woman cannot become a man cannot become a woman. You can, however, have your body mutilated, which is what this is. It's a mutilation surgery. And the horror of this is that the state, the government, is funding this and paying for it, and indirectly, the taxpayers, British taxpayers, are paying for 1,200 women a year to be mutilated. Now, the actual figures in the article, it shows here that they are increasing. So this is a graph of how many people have had this surgery from 2021 up to 2023. You can see it was 1,089 in 2021. It's gone up to 1,237 in 2023. Heaven knows what it will be in 2024 and 2025. It's not supposed to be done because someone somewhere said we're going to stop this after the cash review, which came out, I think, in 2023. And there was a whole load of data there. They looked into it very thoroughly to show this doesn't actually help people. And it doesn't. Doing this, it doesn't help people's feelings of depression or suicidal feelings or anxiety or whatever they have. Having this kind of mutilation, mastectomies, and men, obviously, it's even worse because they do things to surgery, as they say. I have to be careful what I say. Surgery to remove the reproductive organs if you're a man. With a woman, it's surgery to remove your breasts. That doesn't help people's mental turmoil if they have gender dysphoria. It's a mental illness. You don't say to an anorexic, okay, I believe what, you're in a healthy kind of condition, carry on not eating. In the same way, you shouldn't say to someone who's gender dysphoric, okay, well, actually, yeah, we're going to affirm what you feel and cut bits off of your body. I mean, if you go to the doctor as a normal, healthy person and you say to the doctor, would you cut off my ear? Or would you cut off my foot? No doctor would ever do that. But, and even for these things which people are going to doctors with now to do what they call trans surgery, before about 10 years ago, no doctor would do this. Maybe one or two, maybe it happened a very, very small number of times. But now we're in the place where this is 1,200 plus women in the UK on the NHS, funded by the taxpayer, paid for by the government. So they don't have to pay. They have whatever causes this mental turmoil and then think that they need a bit of their body cut off. And the doctor says, okay, I'll do it for you. It's absolutely insane. And there are over 1,300 studies. The article actually quotes this, 1,300 studies that all show that having this kind of surgery, as we can call it, doesn't help alleviate the symptoms of gender dysphoria. The other thing, which is also very disturbing, is that 80% of these surgeries are being done to young women. It says between the ages of 17 and 25. Well, if you're 17, officially, you're not an adult, you're a child. No child under the 18 should be able to have this done to them. Now, of course, there is the argument that children over 12 have Gillick competence, so they can say what they want to do in terms of medical treatment. But for anybody, it shouldn't be done. I mean, the Hippocratic Oath says, do no harm. First, do no harm. This clearly is harming someone's body, but not treating the underlying mental illness. And so many studies from so many years, from Kenneth Zucker of the University in Toronto in 2000 onwards, have shown that for the vast majority of cases of gender dysphoria, 98% in boys, 80% plus in girls, you get over it with mild counseling, and it's usually, for most people, a phase that they go through, and then you can, with a little bit of counseling, not what people try to call conversion therapy, not electroshocking, but just counseling, just talking about the underlying issues, detachment issues, perhaps abuse in the home, perhaps loneliness, perhaps events that have happened, divorce, bereavement, these kind of things, a parent dying. All of these things can lead to gender dysphoria to some extent or other. I mean, I'm not an expert on counseling and so on, but this is what I hear from people who've looked into the studies, looked into it. So these are the underlying issues, and they're the things that need to be addressed to alleviate gender dysphoria, so it goes away, not cutting bits of people's bodies off and leaving them sterile, essentially, or unable to feed a baby that they may have. If they, because if they do the mastectomies, I'm sure they're also doing hormone treatments which mess up their ovaries, and perhaps having hysterectomies as well. I mean, that would be another thing that might come down the line. But you do get people who say, I'm a man and I'm pregnant, and look, I don't even want to go into that because it's just abominable. But what our civilization has got into doing here under gender ideology is pretty repugnant. And these women, these 1,200 women in the UK, I guess it represent around the world a much larger number of women who are getting this done globally. I mean, if it's 1,200 in the UK, it's probably 10, 20, 30,000 a year around the world. And these women's bodies are going to be completely messed up. And there's no way you can get back to where you were beforehand. There's no way you can get a fully healthy, functioning body back once you've had this mutilation done. So it needs to stop right now, and the government needs to stop funding this. But will that happen under a Labour government? Probably not, because they do everything that is anti-life, anti-good, anti-righteous. They won't do it, but we will. If we get in as the Heritage Party, we'll stop it immediately, and there will be no more transgender surgeries or anything on the NHS, and certainly a complete ban on any puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones being given and surgery to under 18-year-olds. You can't stop people doing it when they're over 18, but we certainly shouldn't do it on the national government-funded, government-run health service. And that's how it should be. So it's a very disturbing piece of information that people have found out. But I'm glad people have found this out and they're shining a light on it, because it has to stop. Because we can't really call ourselves civilized if we do this kind of thing and let it continue. It has to stop.